redacted.
Dr. Russell. We're not going to agree to that. That's what I want to see. But
You don't want to agree to what he said.
Your Honor, I've resolved the matter with Mr. Brennan that would have been the subject of that.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So I appreciate getting the redacted text messages over the weekend. Ms. Gianetti, this is yours, right? So, Mr. Brennan, I'm letting the text messages in over the Commonwealth's objection. I find that they're properly authenticated and that they do go to...
Can I turn this fan off?
Yes, can we turn them? Thank you. So I do find that they're properly authenticated, and I find that they come in as they go to the state of mind of Trooper Proctor, specifically as that goes to potentially reflecting any bias or omissions in the police investigation. So I'll give a limiting instruction at the time they can come in. I understand that what was still remaining with disagreement are in orange. So I've got rulings on those. I don't think we need argument. We've heard plenty of argument on this. So regarding the first page with the numbers, I think we should do it the way I inquired about them last week, with just the last two numbers, not the last four. So those reductions will have to be made. I think the first page was 4, so those reductions will have to be made. I think the first page with disagreement is on page 02537. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, so the first one from Bird saying something stinks, I'm going to allow that in. And then there's a message that you both agree to in yellow. And then for the orange, all I'm going to let in out of that is gotta be, and that's where it ends. So you'll have to redact out the rest of that, Ms. Gianetti. And the next page, and the only other one was 02539, is that right?
Correct.
So that comes out. All right, is that right? And the next page, and the only other one was 02539, is that right?
Correct.
So that comes out. All right, that's it. I don't know whose objections they were. Those are my rulings. All right, can we bring the jury in, please? Tony, do you want me to?
You solemnly swear the evidence you give to the court and jury in the case now and hearing should be the truth.
I'm sorry, I was talking this whole time, but I had not added myself to the live stream. I think I'm live now. It's chaotic, but you did not miss any substantive commentary.
Whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do. Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes.
Good morning, sir. Would you please state your name and spell your last name?
Jonathan Diamandis, D-I-A-M-A-N-D-I-S.
Sir, do you know former Trooper Michael Proctor?
I do.
How do you know him?
I wonder if jurors have been the case has not concluded yet, but I do wonder if at the conclusion of this trial, they're going to wonder why neither party called Proctor.
We've been friends since middle school, approximately 30 years.
And in what town?
Canton, Massachusetts.
Did you graduate high school with Michael Proctor?
I did.
When was that?
2000.
How close did you remain in contact with Michael Proctor after high school?
Very close.
Do you have his cell number?
I do.
How often have you texted him over the years?
Frequently.
And when you text him, is that direct one-to-one or part of a group chat or both?
Both.
And I want to direct your attention to one particular group chat that had 9 people on it. Do you know the one I'm referring to?
I do.
And what one is that?
It's one that's been in existence for many years. We've been texting on that text chain for 10 plus years, I would suggest.
Okay. And over those 10 years, the members of that group chat, I'm not asking you for names, but if you could tell me, where are these people from? How do you know them?
We all grew up together and went to school together at some point.
All from Canton?
All from Canton.
And with regard to the 9 people on that group chat, you're one of them?
Correct.
And whether or not Michael Proctor is on that group chat with the rest of your high school friends as well?
He is, yes.
May I have the exhibit that was marked for identification, please? I apologize, I don't recall the triple letter. Would have been the last one from Friday. It's triple N as in Nancy. And Your Honor, may I approach the witness for the purpose of handling
Yes.
this?
How long is he on the stand for? I want to get to the good stuff.
And I've handed you what has been marked triple N for identification. Do you recognize that, sir?
I do.
Have you seen that
What's
before?
up, Brooklyn?
Yes, I was shown it last Friday.
And what do you recognize it to be?
Okay, so Brooklyn saying that there's suspicions that Proctor is missing in action. Who's the one witness that cannot be located? I think, in all honesty, it's, to me, it's obvious why the Commonwealth will not bring Michael Proctor to the stand, because he's going to stand vigorous cross-examination. During the first trial, he was not, terminated from the force. Okay, he was just under, was it suspension? He was being investigated. So it was not as bad as now him pretty much being removed from his position due to the manner he handled this Karen Reed trial. So that's why they're not calling him. As for the defense, I think, again, the reason that the defense refuses the reason the defense refuses to call Michael Proctor is the fact that Michael Proctor is going to be a repeat of, who did we watch this morning? Kelly Deaver. I think she said Dever. Whatever her last name is. It's going to be a repetition of that. I do not foresee Michael Proctor getting on the stand and him testifying to completely screwing the case up. I don't see that happening. I don't see him getting on the stand and saying, I implicated Karen Reed and I should not have done that. I should have looked at somebody else. He's going to stand by his investigation. He's going to say that he investigated with integrity. So if the defense calls Michael Proctor, sure enough, they get in the text messages, and I think it's really the text messages that they want to get in. That's why they're calling this witness. They can get in those text messages through this witness. But Michael Proctor is probably going to backfire for the defense. Brooklyn says that, what's up, Cali girl? Brooklyn says that he can plead the fifth. That is if you are potentially implicating yourself in criminal activity. Michael Proctor is not going to concede to that. I don't see it happening. I do not see it happening.
A portion of our text chain.
Okay, and when you say a portion, it's a limited time period within a much longer text chain. Is that fair to say?
That's correct.
And with regard to how you're able to recognize it, I'd like to just ask you a few questions. First of all, on the first page of that document, do you see a series of phone numbers?
I do.
And do you recognize your phone number on that text chain?
Yes.
And having reviewed that text chain on Friday, did you see that you had actually sent one text of the whole body of text that's included in what has been marked NNN for identification?
Yes.
In order to send that text message as of late January, early February of 2022, did your phone have a passcode on it?
Yes.
Have you had that for several years?
Yes.
Registered.
In order to send a text chain, do you have to enter the passcode to your phone first to unlock it?
Correct.
And so it would have been you who sent that message.
Yes.
And having reviewed the content of that text chain, were you able to identify which entries were typed and sent by Michael Proctor?
Yes.
Who is he on that text chain?
He's listed as local user.
Okay, and it says local user, and there's a bunch of letters and numbers after that.
Correct.
Everybody else is identified by a phone number,
Yes, or a nickname.
and actually, even the ones with a nickname have a phone number, correct?
Correct. Yes.
So three of them have nicknames, correct?
Yeah, I see two on the first page here.
Do you see on the
Oh,
left?
No, not these text messages. These text messages did not come in through Yuri. I don't remember that.
Third at the bottom. Yes, I see three.
So you see
Yeah,
three there.
Yes. Yes.
And I don't see how they would have brought them through Yuri if he was not on that text chain.
And so of the nine, we have
The ones with Yuri, to me, they are not as negative as the ones from this text chain.
three nicknames
With what's his name? I forgot the friend's name.
with phone numbers, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
We have 8 phone numbers total, right?
Yes.
And 1 local user.
Correct.
And you've testified the local user is Michael Proctor.
Correct.
And having known Michael Proctor for as long as you have, does he have any nicknames?
He does.
And what are his nicknames?
Chip and Bear.
Chip, C-H-I-P,
Yes.
and Bear, B-E-A-R.
Correct.
And having reviewed that text chain, is that a true and accurate documenting the texts that were sent in that chain for the time period that is listed on NNN for identification?
Yes.
Your Honor, I would offer that subject to our discussions outside the presence of the jury.
Okay.
May I take it back from the witness?
Yes. Exhibit 209.
Thank you. I wonder if these people are still going to be friends after he has no choice. You're subpoenaed. You're subpoenaed. You have to be in court.
I have no further questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Can I have exhibit 209 when it's ready, please? Thank you.
Is that it?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Have we met before?
On Friday, I saw you. We didn't meet.
You had been friends with Mr. Proctor for
Kelly, did you watch today's live when we were, at least the beginning part, because I know you're on the live stream, but the beginning part, because Ms. Kelly Dever, she was a firecracker.
about 30 years.
Yes,
Are you still friends with him?
I am.
Are you still close with him?
I am.
They still friends?
You were on a text chain with Mr. Proctor over the years.
Correct.
Did that include other friends of yours and Mr. Proctor's?
Did.
The extent of that text chain, did it go back many, many years?
Yes.
Have you ever looked at any records that summarize some of that text chain?
Yes.
Did it note that there were over 38,000 texts in that group?
Wow.
I did notice the number, but it sounds accurate.
When there is conversations in that group, do you always respond to the conversation?
No,
There's a particular section or segment of those 38,707 text messages that were shown to you. Did you see that document?
I did.
Are you familiar with it now that you've seen it?
Now that I've seen it, yes.
In that document, are there inappropriate comments that your friend Michael Proctor made about one of his investigations?
There are.
Was it about this case here?
It was.
In those inappropriate comments, did other people on that text chain, not you, comment or respond to Mr. Proctor?
Yes.
In that text chain where Mr. Proctor made inappropriate comments, you did not respond to any of those inappropriate comments, did you?
Correct.
You're on the text chain at a point later on in conversations, but not relevant to the inappropriate comments.
Correct.
Did you know that Mr. Proctor was fired by the Massachusetts State Police
Man, they
because
brought it out. He brought it out, but okay. All right.
of his inappropriate comments?
Objection. May we approach, please?
I'm surprised that it's Brennan that's bringing that testimony out. Callie said she started but did not finish. Yeah, this case is too much. I'm ready to move on to Lori. If I come up here next week and I've moved on to Lori, folks, don't hold it against me because Lori has stuff going on. Brooklyn says, was thinking about your prediction that you made January 20th. I don't remember what happened on January 20th. What was my prediction? What's up, Allie? Brooklyn says, Kelly, what's going on your side? Are you watching BBC? Nah, Kelly's watching the girls. The girls are fighting. Come on, let's fast forward because we need to get to Sergeant. I forgot his name. Already. I'm terrible with names. You guys know I was chaperoning today. I met somebody's parent, and within a few seconds, I had forgotten the name already. I forgot the name. So I gave her my number. I'm like, text me or save my number because I knew she was going to send me a text with her name. So that's how I got a name. But I forgot her name within just a few seconds. I'm terrible with names. All right, let's go. Let's go.
Sir, do you know if Mr. Proctor was fired from the Massachusetts State
No,
Police?
so whatever the objection was, it is overruled.
I do.
Did he tell you why?
It was in connection to this case. I believe it was.
Okay, now I'm trying to figure out the Brennan's angle here. I'm trying to figure out exactly what he's doing, what he's trying to elicit from this witness.
Based on his text messages that were sent to us.
Based on these comments that are in exhibit?
Got it. I think. Oh, hold on. I have an important. Hold on. What was I saying? Got distracted. Sorry, but I do have to respond to this because I'm the one that reached out to her. In any event, so what Brennan is trying to bring in is that Michael Proctor was fired due to the nature of the text messages and not the integrity of the investigation as a whole. I think that's where he's heading.
Correct.
Did you at any time ever defend or endorse these comments?
I did not.
Did you ever encourage him in his comments?
I did not.
Can I approach?
Yes.
I'm handing you exhibit 209.
Thank you.
On the first page, ending in the number's 27. There's a fuller number, but I'll just use the last two numbers. Bottom right, 27. Is there a number of redacted phone numbers?
I'm sorry, on the first page on the bottom of the page?
If you look to the bottom right of the page, there's a number on it?
Oh, yes, and then it's blacked out next to it?
Yes.
Yes.
The last two numbers, is it 27?
Yes, it is.
When you look at that first page, does it have a number of redacted phone numbers of different people?
I don't see anything redacted.
The top box, are there numbers?
There
Phone
are numbers, yes.
Are they partially blacked out?
No, the display names, it just lists phone numbers.
Okay. Are those numbers you recognize as the group of friends, including Michael Proctor?
They are.
As you read down that first box and go down to number of messages, do you see that?
Oh, yes.
Is it 38,707?
Yes.
Is that for a time period between October 18, 2021 and August 31st, 2022?
Yes.
I'd like you to look at the third text message that begins with Chip. Without saying who it is, do you recognize that as one of the people in the
Alexa,
group?
remind me
I do.
legal aid
And what did the
tomorrow
person write?
at 6 p.m.
Chip, name of that BPD cop?
What
Hold
is
on, let's go
it?
back.
Between
Sorry, I
October
got distracted.
18th.
I was responding, so I'm trying to figure out where Brandon's coming from.
Yes.
Are they partially?
Yeah, I know why Benji's not here. Benji's watching the NBA Finals.
Blacked out?
No, blacked out next to it?
Yes.
Yes.
The last two numbers is
Oh, yes, and then it's blacked out next to it?
yes.
Yes.
The last two numbers, is it 27?
Yes, it is.
When you look at that first page, does it have a number of redacted phone numbers of different people?
I don't see anything redacted.
The top box, are there numbers?
There are
Phone
numbers, yes.
Are they partially blacked out?
No, the display names, it just lists phone numbers.
Okay. Are those numbers you recognize as the group of friends, including Michael Proctor?
They are.
As you read down that first box and go down to number of messages, do you see that?
Oh, yes.
Is it 38,707?
Yes.
Is that for a time period between October 18, 2021 and August 31st, 2022?
Yes.
I'd like you to look at the third text message that begins with Chip. Without saying who it is, do you recognize that as one of the people in the group?
I do.
And what did the person write?
Chip, name of that BPD cop?
And at the time this conversation was happening, were you part of this immediate conversation?
I was not.
Turn the page. Bottom right number is ending in 28. Do you see that page?
Yes.
Okay. Instead of a name, there's a local user with an ID. Is that Mr. Proctor's?
Yes, it is.
And just he respond to Chip, name of that BPD cop?
He does.
What does he say?
John O'Keefe.
Okay.
What is the next question from somebody in the group?
How old?
And what does Mr. Proctor respond?
He took custody of his sister's kids.
The next one?
She died of cancer and the father overdosed on her grave.
And then one of the
Overdosed?
group.
Is that that is not my recollection? Is that how John O'Keefe's brother-in-law died?
Sends a message. What do they say?
Oh man, that's rough.
And what's Mr. Proctor's response?
how
Mid 40s.
does he look different, Allie? What's different about? I did not actually look at Brandon today, or this was Monday. Okay, so Brooklyn says, so what happened January 20th? I'll delete it after you read it. Politics. Oh, okay. So the two big babies are getting divorced. What was my prediction, though? That there would be a falling. I mean, if the falling out was, I could see that from a mile. But the girls, the girls, babe, I was not prepared for that. It was going to happen sooner rather than later. I did not, when I woke up today, I did not think that this is how my day was gonna go. I was having a nightmare, you guys. I went to the chaperoning my daughter. So we had the whole pool party, everything. It was hot out there. I came home early. My daughter went back to school, and then I waited about an hour, got her off the bus, and then I took a nap because the sun. It was just too hot today. So I took a nap. It was a nightmare, actually. I was having a nightmare. You guys know that I fractured my tooth, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago. When I was having this nightmare, my teeth were literally just disintegrating in my mouth. It was terrifying. It was really, really terrifying. So my teeth were disintegrating, and then I missed something. There's something happening, and I missed the deadline. A lot was going on. So when I woke up, and this is what I woke up to, I'm like, oh my goodness, what a fantastic reality.
Does somebody in the group then post a Facebook posting?
Yes,
Don't
Do
like
you know what that's about?
I do not.
You can turn the page ending bottom right 29.
Yes,
Somebody in the group ask another question.
yes.
What do they say?
What's that? Don't have the book anymore.
If you could just speak up just a little so it's hard to hear with the fan on, not your
Sure.
phone.
What's that? Don't have the book anymore.
How does Mr. Proctor respond?
This one is a nightmare. Forget about the kids. That's awful.
Wait, what? The book? Nightmare?
The book anymore.
If you could just speak up just a little so it's hard to hear with the fan on, not your
Sure.
phone.
What's that? Don't have the book anymore.
How does Mr. Proctor respond?
This one is a nightmare. Forget about the kids. That's awful.
Okay.
And then I'd like you to go down to Mr. Proctor's
I need
next
the full
comment.
text. Like,
But all the powers that be want answer ASAP.
what?
And what does one of the group respond with?
Gotcha.
Mr. Proctor?
Couldn't open it either.
Do you know what he was talking about when he said he couldn't
Oh,
open
the
it?
Facebook
I'm guessing
post?
the Facebook link.
I'd like you to turn forward to bottom right 3-1. Do you see what that is?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
John O'Keefe's Facebook page.
What does it
Okay.
tell us about John O'Keefe?
He went to Braintree High School, studied criminal justice at Northeastern, joined Facebook in 2008.
Okay.
Turn the page, please. The first line from Bird, and I'll note this is
Yeah, and I mean, I thought it was a heart attack, but apparently he overdosed. Okay, so Brooklyn says that I gave it 6. I guess we are at the 6. I guess we're at the 6-month mark. So, yeah, I just read people. And that was a situation that was unavoidable. Ali says, Lori be acting up, but they got a jury finally. I think they started today. Yeah, when I tuned in briefly. They had opening statements today. Again, I was napping. My teeth were disintegrating in my mouth. So I was horrified. I'm surprised I actually started the live on time because my daughter had a concert tonight. I forgot about the concert, but we showed up. Okay, so apparently Brandon looks skinnier and his hair looks this case will probably make you lose weight. I know that they're eating. So yeah, Brooklyn, I was not aware of an overdose.
January 29, 2022 at 10:56:39 p.m. Did I read that accurately?
Yes.
And what does the person 39 p.m. Did I read that accurately? 22 at 10:56:39 p.m. Did I read that accurately?
Yes.
And what does the person say?
I'm sure the owner of the house will receive some shit.
And could you read Mr. Proctor's 2 responses?
Nope. Homeowner is a Boston cop too.
Okay.
If you could turn to the next page ending on 33.
So is Brennan trying to beat the defense to the punch. I'm just trying to figure out his process here.
This is January 29th, 2022 at 10:57:21 p.m. Could you read Mr. Proctor's two comments?
She waffled him. I looked at his body at the hospital.
And one of the group asks a question.
She
Or
waffled.
because I suppose the text chain, I believe he said 3,800 or something, or was it 38,000? I don't remember. I'm trying to figure out if he wants to draw the jurors' attention to pertinent portions of the text chain, but he's also bringing in some information that is not necessarily favorable to Proctor. So
Waffled him in quotation marks.
And
What's that?
She waffled him in quotation marks.
And how does he respond?
He was banged up.
Somebody in the group asks another question. What do they ask?
I thought he was drunk. Did he get beat up?
And Mr. Proctor's response?
Nope.
Turn to the next page, ending in 34. This is at around 10:58:06 p.m., running through 10:59 p.m. Another question from the group. What did they ask?
So the owner of the house was a woman cop that beat him.
And Mr. Proctor's two responses.
That's what I initially thought after talking to Canton paramedic.
Okay.
Then I saw the guy.
One of the group asks further down, what does,
Somebody's whispering. Hold on. What?
further down, what does,
What? Hold on. I don't want to start with my conspiracies, but he said,
one of the group asks further down, what does,
can you guys make out that whisper or no? One more time.
one of the group asks further down, what does,
I don't know if somebody whispered something.
sir, if you could either speak much louder or bring the microphone closer. We have a couple fans back here. It's just
Man doesn't
difficult to
wanna
hear.
be
Okay, sorry about that.
That's not your fault. If we can keep our voice up.
Okay, the sister had cancer.
So one of the group asks, what does, quote, she waffled
What?
him, quote, end quote.
What is Brooklyn saying? So apparently on a chat, they had a best looking witness contest. Him and the crash daddy took the gold medal. What are you talking about, Brooklyn?
Mean. And then asks, what's the story? Does Mr. Proctor return?
He does.
What does he say?
She hit him with her car.
Turn to the next page, please, ending in 3-5.
Oh, got it. I figured out what Brandon is doing. I think I just figured it out. So, and that's why I'm saying Brandon, this guy's really good. Okay. I'm not saying that he'll be able to prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt, but as far as trial skills, he is a really, really skilled lawyer. So what Brandon is doing, he is pretty much, let's go back to the defense. This is a defense witness. The reason the defense called him to the stand is for him to admit, or at least for the defense to admit the text messages about, what is his name again? Proctor, speaking ill of Karen Reed, the balloon knot, the leaking butt, and all the other things that he said about her, okay? That's what the defense want the jurors to focus on. But what Brandon is doing, Brandon is redirecting the jurors, even though they did not call this guy, he's redirecting the jurors to what he considers to be the pertinent portions of this conversation. And that's pretty much maintaining that Karen Reed hit John O'Keefe with her vehicle.
These texts are from 10:59:13 p.m. to 11.
Okay, so again, in these text messages, the reason why he keeps bringing in the times, these text messages have to be before the alleged conspiracy occurred. You know, the car in the Sally port, the missing tail light, and the like.
In 8 seconds PM. The person by the name of Bird asks a question. What does he ask? Or what does he say?
Okay, that's fucked up.
How does Mr. Proctor respond?
Intentional or not?
And somebody in the group again?
Gotcha. He was frozen in the driveway and she didn't see him.
Mr. Proctor's 2 responses.
That's another animal we won't be able to prove.
And the next one?
They arrived at the
That's another animal we won't be able to prove. What, they won't be able to prove that she did not see him, or what exactly?
house together,
Need Proctor to come up here and explain himself.
got into an argument. She was driving and left.
What does the friend say?
What's the name of the Canton cop living in Canton? The other one involved.
What does Mr. Proctor say?
Biffed him.
What? And going back to Brennan, again, this man is pretty strategic. So Brennan does not bring Albert and Higgins to the stand. So because Brennan did not call Albert and Higgins, the defense could not, they pretty much could not, again, they still could call any of those people, right? But the defense was not able to basically set off their third-party culprit defense.
Turn to the next page, ending in 3-6. These run from January 29, 2022, 11 p.m. and 11 seconds to.
When you say he brought him, are you talking about the prosecution or the defense?
January 29, 2022, 11 p.m., 39 seconds. The first comment by somebody in the group.
The BPD have any jurisdiction here because it was their own?
And then if you could look where there's a comment from Whitey at 11 p.m., 27 seconds.
Liz has got the blueprint.
Liz has got the blueprint. Do you know who Liz is?
No.
Okay. And what's the next comment by Mr. Proctor?
Nah, Cat. It's the total opposite. They have to rescue themselves.
What it's mean-
Recuse themselves,
Thank
excuse
you.
me.
Recuse themselves?
Yes.
And then a comment by somebody in the group?
Laughed at. Liz has got the blueprint.
On the next page, Mr. Proctor's comment.
Same with Canton.
I'm parenting. I'm sorry. I need to go back a little bit. What?
First comment by somebody in the group.
The BPD have any jurisdiction here because it was their own?
And then if you could look where there's a comment from
You guys, when I tell you guys that today was just, let's move on. You guys know I talk a lot. Let's move on.
Whitey at 11.
Well, I need to say this though, because listen, little kid. So my daughter had a concert today. And then after the concert, I was talking to her. We were on time, meaning that we're a little late because by the time we got there, the good seats were gone. She had 4 or 5 minutes to tune her violin and get on stage. So I did not have a good seat. So I was all the way in the back. I could not see. I could not take good pictures. I recorded part of the concert, but I did not have my kid on camera. So I told her to get up on the stage so I could take a picture of her. And I called her name. And these 2 little girls were like, "Is that your mom?" And she was like, "Yeah, that's my mom." They were like, "Oh, you're so pretty. You're so pretty." Sorry. The little girls called me pretty. I feel like I need to go back to those little girls every once in a while just to boost my self-confidence and my ego. But they're really sweet girls.
PM, 27 seconds.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Today was there was a lot happening. The girls fighting, the little cute little girls, and a lot has been happening. And then Karen Reed did not have court. And then Lori was.
Liz has got the blueprint.
well.
Liz has got the blueprint. Do you know who Liz is?
No.
Okay. And what's the next comment by Mr. Proctor?
Nah, Cat. It's the total opposite. They have to rescue themselves,
Would it mean,
recuse themselves,
thank
excuse
you.
me.
Recuse themselves
Yes.
Okay.
and then a comment by somebody in the group?
Laughed at. Liz has got the blueprint.
On the next page, Mr.
Who
Proctor's comment.
is Liz?
Same with Canton.
At January 29th, 2022, 11:02 PM and 15
The
seconds,
time.
there's a comment from one person in the group, number ending in 5051. Could you read that?
But I assume you guys are out to make it cut and dry since it involves cops.
Next comment by Bird,
Something stinks.
and the comment by Mr. Proctor.
Yeah, but there will be some serious charges brought on the girl.
Okay.
And the beginning of the next sentence is gotta be. And finally, the last comment on that page,
She hot at least.
that's a question mark.
Yes.
Turn the page, please. Ending in 38.
That man does not want to be
These
on the
messages
stand. I
begin
don't.
at 11:05:57 PM, run through 11:06:39 PM on January 29, 2022. Does it begin with comments from Mr. Proctor?
It does.
Could you read all of them, please?
These are not my words. I'm not really comfortable reading these. Do I have to say these words out loud?
So I'm going to
I-
see you at sidebar.
Okay. All right. So I guess he was gearing up for his discomfort. Yeah, that's what I'm not understanding from the defense perspective. They called Proctor's friend to the stand in order to get his text messages in. What I'm not understanding is, why did they not make him read the comment or the text messages into the actual record? Why are we seeing this from Brennan? Okay, so Brooklyn says the defense brought him in thinking that he will slip up somehow, but Brennan surprised with a question. Brennan is good. Brennan is good. Okay, so Brooklyn says killing Proctor's credibility with these text messages. That's what I was hoping from the defense. I was expecting that from the defense and not from Brennan. And then Brooklyn says they were going for him to slip up and say the FBI was investigating this case, but Bev didn't allow it. Is that on redirect? Maybe. Callie said she's not going to read those Proctor text messages either. Okay, they're going on about something over there. Well, I cannot read lips, but crazy. These folks out here don't have any coverings on, and these individuals are out there in suits. I wonder if they're not burning up. Oh, Bev Canoni might actually be burning up under that robe. Because I think, wasn't it yesterday when court ended early or something? Yeah, Bev Canoni might be the one that's burning up.
Go ahead, Mr. Brennan.
Thank you. Sir, I'm appreciating that you're not comfortable with these words. These are not your words, are they?
No, they're not.
You didn't see them at the time.
I did not.
You've never condoned them or adopted them.
No,
In fact, you would denounce these, wouldn't you?
I would.
I don't want you to say words that are not yours, so I'll say the words and I'm going to ask you if I'm reading accurately. Is that better?
Yes.
Is that a fairer way to do it?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so he found a way around it. I need to listen. I don't know that I'm going to find any more of Brennan's cases online, but this is a brilliant lawyer. And again, he is able to maneuver around. If there's a roadblock, he's able to figure out a way to overcome it as far as it's in his control. What the jurors do is what the jurors do. That has nothing to do with, I mean, to some extent, a little bit. But this case, this is a complicated case. And I was just thinking, when I was a prosecutor, There's a case that was in our office. It was not my case, and that I think that case was even before. It must have been before I got there. In any event, that case was nolly pros. It just means the prosecutor's office did not bring any charges. It was two guys that went on what was supposed to be a hunting trip. Okay, only one of them returned, and um, the evidence showed that the individual that returned actually shot and killed the other individual. But there was no way. He claimed he thought it was, he said he thought it was what? Some type of animal. I don't remember what the animal was. There were gossips, speculation about possibly somebody sleeping with somebody's wife, but the prosecution just could not. There was no proof. There was no way of them proving that it was a setup or intentional or anything along those lines. So they nolly prossed it. In this case, though, um, I don't take any position as to whether they should have brought the charges or not, but this is a difficult prosecution case. Oh, and I did read somewhere. I actually need to confirm. Let me confirm that before I come up here and spread falsehoods.
On January 29, 2022, 11 p.m., 5 minutes, 57 seconds. And this page ends at 11 p.m., 6 minutes, 39 seconds on January 29, 2022, ending in numbers 38. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
Mr. Proctor says, from all accounts, he didn't do a thing wrong. She's a whack job, and then uses the C word to describe. Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
He then says, yeah, she's a babe. Weird Fall River accent, though. No ass. Are those the words that he wrote?
Crazy.
Those are the words.
There's a response.
So that's what I'm saying. Because what I had read on Reddit, and Reddit, you don't know where those people get their information from. What I had read on Reddit, it was within the last 2 or 3 weeks. Somebody on there said that Karen Reed was offered probation, but AI, again, AI, I don't really believe in AI, but AI is basically saying that no, it does not appear that Karen Reed was offered a plea deal, at least not one she accepted. While there have been discussions and speculations about potential plea deals, especially after the first trial, there's no indication that she accepted or was even offered one. In fact, she stated she was not offered a plea deal, even if one was offered. According to, she would not have accepted a plea deal, even if one was offered, according to an article in Vanity Fair. I don't know where Reddit gets its information from, but it sounds like Karen Reed was not given a plea offer. So I suppose maybe the prosecution of the Commonwealth initially thought they could prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt.
At the bottom from one member in the group stating, oh, she's skating.
Yes.
Let's turn the page. Ending in 39.
Slick.
These begin in January 29, 2022, 11:06 p.m., 55 seconds.
Yeah, this guy, this is a real lawyer, okay? Brandon is definitely a real lawyer.
Is that accurate?
Yes, it is.
Mr. Proctor responds, zero chance she skated. She's effed. She's fucked.
Kelly, who are you referring to? This witness or Brandon?
Is that accurate?
Yes, it is.
Mr. Proctor responds, zero chance she skated.
Okay.
She's effed. She's fucked.
Yes,
Is that what he said?
it is.
And then one person in the group says, no ass bitch. Accurate?
I'm
That's
sorry,
accurate.
that just actually reminded me of Old Bag. I remember when we watched parts of this, I don't know, on Sustained Overruled. So that's what it reminded me of. I think that's where the whole pancake thing came from.
Mr. Proctor,
Shout out to
there's
Old
a
Bag.
response, laughed at, quote, no ass bitch.
That's crazy.
Yes.
If you could turn to the page that ends in 4-3. You ready?
Yes,
Somebody in the group says, "Is that chick a smoke?" And then the same person follows up with a question mark. Accurate?
accurate.
Mr. Proctor responds, E-H.
Yes,
Nut bag, as my chief would say.
yes,
She's got a leaky balloon knot.
yes,
Leaks poo.
yes,
Those are the words of Mr. Proctor.
they are.
Did I read those accurately?
You did.
And then a person in the group says, "What are you guzzling on?" And this is on, well, let me take a step back to be more clear. The comments I just read, those weren't on January 29th. Those were on February 2nd, 2022.
Okay.
Correct.
And the time is 12:50 p.m.
Okay, so as far as time, I'm trying to figure out were charges brought by February 2nd or not?
12:50 and 5 seconds p.m. begin the
Oh,
page.
yes, yes, beginning of page,
So
yes.
these are different in time than the ones we read before, the series of text messages.
Correct.
And then at the bottom, one of the members of the group says, "What are you guzzling on?"
Correct.
And that's still February 2nd, 2022, and that's at 1:51:33 p.m.
Yes,
And then if you can turn to page that ends on with numbers 44.
yes,
And this is on February 2nd, 2022, 1:52:24. Mr. Proctor says, "Nothing, writing a warrant."
that's accurate.
There are no further.
For the warrant?
And this is on February 2nd, 2022, 1:52:24. Mr. Proctor says, "Nothing, writing a warrant."
No, what was the question?
2022, and that's at
So he's not
1:51:33 p.m.
drinking?
Yes,
So he's sober.
And then if you can turn to page that ends on with numbers 44.
yes,
And this is on February 2nd, 2022, 1:52:24. Mr. Proctor says, "Nothing, writing a warrant."
that's accurate.
There are no further text messages?
From Mr. Proctor?
Yes, or anybody in this group that you have as part of this exhibit?
That was not the last comment.
Okay, let me look. Okay. Is there another YouTube video?
There is,
Okay, what's a YouTube video?
You were not part of any of these conversations with Mr. Proctor,
no,
but you're still friends with him?
I am.
Okay.
In your conversations with Mr. Proctor, has he ever suggested that he planted evidence in this case or any other case?
No,
In your conversations with Mr.
Man,
Proctor?
listen. Brennan is a good attorney. The only people that will not appreciate Brennan's skills, I mean, lay people, that's understandable, but primarily people that have like staunch Karen Reed supporters, people that want Karen Reed to be acquitted. Those are the people that are not going to like Brennan. But Brennan he's really good. I'm going to have to rewatch this entire trial. I'm going to have to rewatch this entire trial and just listen to Brennan. Brennan is really good.
In your conversations with Mr. Proctor, has he ever suggested that he planted evidence in this case or any other case?
no,
In your conversations with Mr. Proctor, has he ever suggested framing a defendant, including this defendant?
absolutely not.
In all your conversations with Mr. Proctor, has he ever suggested tampering with evidence in this case or in any other case?
No, absolutely not.
And Mr. Proctor was fired?
He was.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Dang. All right, let's get to redirect. Okay, you guys need to redirect now.
Sir,
That is kind of a difficult. How do you redirect? How do you redirect this? I don't know. I need to give it some more thought.
the time Michael Proctor was revealing this information, on this high school group chat.
High school group chat.
Was this information public?
I have no memory one way or the other.
Okay.
At the time Michael Proctor was texting these messages to you and your other high school friends,
High school friends.
were Ms. Reed's medical conditions public? Did you know anything about Ms. Reed's medical conditions?
I didn't know anything about this case at all.
Michael Proctor was the one revealing those details about the case to you and anybody on the chat who cared to read them, correct?
Correct.
And you were asked questions about why Michael Proctor was fired, and I believe you answered in a shorthand way for these text messages. Were you aware he was fired for being biased?
I'm not aware of that.
Objection.
So the answer will stand as under.
Were you aware that he was fired for revealing confidential information about an investigation?
I was not aware of that.
And were you aware that he was also fired for conduct unbecoming a state trooper and a lead investigator in this case?
I was not aware of that.
I have no further questions.
I don't know. Now, parts of me is, and again, we've talked about this over and over again about who to call. If this guy was not on good terms with Michael Proctor, maybe the testimony would have been different. And I've said it before. If you're trying to find a witness that's going to be favorable to your case, you need to find somebody that is not on good terms with your client. So under these circumstances, what we are hearing from, Mr. Diamond, no, hold on. Let me take this off. There we go. Jonathan Diamandis. What we're getting from him is he's not the author of these text messages. Did not really interact with his text messages. And through his conversations with Michael Proctor, no indication or conversations or admissions by Michael Proctor admitting to either planting evidence or framing Karen Reed. So I don't know. I'm questioning a little bit why they put him on the stand, because Brennan probably brought out more than I would have been expecting for this witness, because this witness really did not know much about the actual case. Okay, so Callie says, I don't know much about law, but I really appreciate how Brennan is handling himself, because the case is too much. I do agree. I do like his demeanor. Brooklyn says Brennan came very prepared, and Alessi didn't perform well. I thought that wasn't that Yannetti that was directing Brennan, or are you referring to Brooklyn? When was Alessi a disaster? Which witness? Okay, BS, he knew. Apparently he lied the last minute saying he didn't know he was fired. I don't think that he said he didn't know he was fired. The question was whether he knew that. Let's go back. One of the first questions that Yannetti asked about the firing, he basically said that the witness answered shorthand, saying that he was fired due to these text messages. So Yannetti went through the various reasons why, I almost said Brennan, not Brennan, but why Proctor was fired. The first, he said, did you know that he was fired because he was biased? Brennan objected. The witness said he did not know. Bev said she was going to let the answer stand. Then Yannetti went on to ask about if he knew that he was fired. I think there were 3 reasons why he was fired. So he went through all of them. This guy did not say that he did not know that he was fired. He's saying that he was fired from his perspective. he was fired due to the text messages, but he did not know about the whole being biased and the rest. So, okay, let's move on to Brooklyn. Brooklyn says Alessi was brought in for the science issue, but had no idea what no idea what he was talking about. Brooklyn, why are you turning on Alessi? Why are you turning on Alessi? What's going on? What's going on? Give me some more information. Why are you turning on Alessi? Yeah, Alessi, that's also what I figured. I figured that Alessi was really brought in to deal and handle the experts because, again, we looked up his profile. He works for a very prestigious law firm. He mostly does civil litigation and civil attorney. It depends. It depends on the area. But from what I looked at on his profile, he appears to be an individual that deals with a lot of sophisticated experts, right? So under those circumstances, you would expect him to know how to properly cross-examine an expert. And I do agree with you when it came to which witness was that? It was Dr. I think it started with a W, Dr. somebody. The one that, one of the founders of Aperture. I do agree with you there because Alessi just, his cross-examination was not proper. And then we saw, who's this? Brandon, I stopped, Welcher, there we go. I stopped taking notes, but I don't remember which witness it was for the defense where, I mean, Brandon overall is just a better cross-examiner. He is a better cross-examiner. But I also think the reason why Brandon is capable of cross-examining experts, because again, we went to his website, we looked up what he does, and he does, I believe it was not cross, girl, get it together. I believe he did some criminal defense, but he also did civil practice. I believe he does personal injury, most of it revolving around car crashes. So you do have to have a thorough understanding of, vehicles, body mechanics. There's a lot of pieces there. There's a lot that goes in there. But yeah, Alessi was definitely brought in for a specific purpose. I should have continued grading these people. I think there are some aspects where I actually really liked Alessi, and I thought he was doing a good job. But Welcher's cross-examination did not go down too well. So yeah, that was it was a little shaky. But that said, again, Karen Reed has no burden, and there are some aspects in this case that probably stood out to some jurors more than others. The problem is with a case that is this long, though, jurors do tend to forget. Because if we go back 2 weeks ago, there was a lot of emphasis or a lot of focus on Mr. Burgess, right? That was really the ultimate. That was probably a pivotal moment for the defense. Mr. Burgess appeared unqualified, XYZ, and he testified. And then, sure enough, we're 2 weeks later, and we've moved on to other witnesses. All right, let's get in here. And the thing is that if not the defense, the prosecution or the Commonwealth is going to have the final. Hopefully they keep it short, because if we are exhausted and we still get to live our regular lives and switch in between cases, there's no doubt that the jurors are absolutely done with this case. They're just as tired.
You're not aware that he was fired for conduct unbecoming because of these text messages?
My understanding was it was due to the text messages. I don't know the other details of the situation.
Do you know he was not fired for any accusations of planting or tampering with evidence?
I do not know that.
Do you know that he was not fired for doing anything to compromise the integrity of the evidence in this investigation?
I do not know that.
All right. So, sir, I am going to let you step down. And then, folks, I have an instruction for you that I should have read at the time the text messages came in. You can leave them right with Madam Court Reporter.
Thank you.
Madam.
And you're all set. Thank you.
Okay, so there we go. That testimony was much longer than I'd anticipated, but that's all right.
All right. So I've told you folks previously, but I've got an additional instruction here. Before, and I think so you know this, and you'll hear it at the end of the case as well. Before you consider any electronic communication in your deliberations, you must first find that it is more likely true than not that the person who authored or created or transmitted the communication was in fact the person alleged. And here we've heard it be Michael Proctor and high school friends, the testimony was, I believe. If you do not find it is more likely true than not that the person alleged to have created or sent these messages, then you may not consider the electronic communication in deciding this case. And also here, this text message chain was not being admitted for the truth of what's in the chain, but solely for the limited purpose of weighing the text as they go to Michael Proctor's state of mind. And more specifically, whether or not that state of mind reflects any bias or omissions in the police investigations. So, all right. Is there another witness this morning? Okay.
Yes. Officer Kelly Dever to join us, please.
Okay.
Okay, we're not dealing with her. We dealt with her this morning, so let's wait. I thought there's somebody else we had to. Maybe it's a different live. Yeah, maybe it's a different live. Okay, so was it yesterday then? Let's see. Let us see. Okay, was it this guy? I don't know. This is what, day 27? Let's find. Only 27? It feels longer than that. It feels longer than that. Is this 26? No, that's 25. Okay.
That time, know who.
There we go. Okay.
2012.
Oh, shoot. Hold on. Let's see if we can find some good timestamps. Or have we already done that? Somebody wants somebody wants them to get rid of the judge. What's happening? Oh. Shout out to Russell. Come on. It's still Russell. Mangione has been in the news a lot lately.
So you're gonna step up, face the card, and raise your right hand, please.
Please solemnly swear the evidence you give to the court and jury in the case down here is for the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Maybe seated.
Good afternoon.
I like this suit.
All right, Mr. Jackson, you are all set.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Good afternoon, sir.
Could you please state your full name, spell your last name for the jurors, please?
Nicholas Barrows, Barros,
And where do you currently work?
the town of Dayton, Dayton Police Department,
Okay.
How long have you worked for the Dayton Police Department, sir?
since 2011.
And what's your position there currently?
Currently, I am a sergeant.
What's your duty assignment as a sergeant? What do you do?
I supervise the 4 to midnight shift.
We'll get to that in a little bit more detail in just a second. A couple of more foundational questions. How long have you been a police officer altogether?
Since 2011, so going 14 years.
And what education and training and background do you have that qualifies you to do your duties as a sergeant, a supervisor at the Dayton Police Department?
I completed the police academy.
Mm-hmm.
I hold a bachelor's degree in criminal justice.
Okay.
I've been to many trainings as a police officer and as a supervisor.
When did you get your bachelor's degree?
2012.
Is the Dighton Police Department an autonomous police department for the city? In other words, is it a branch of, say, for instance, Massachusetts State Police? Or is it an
Anna, is that
autonomous department?
true?
It's on its own.
Okay. It's
Somebody's
not in
claiming
any
the
way
court
connected
reporter
to
rolled
the
their
Canton
eyes
Police
at a
Department, I
lessee.
presume?
Correct.
Is it in any way connected to the Massachusetts State Police
It
Department?
is not.
As a supervisor, are part of your duties to oversee subordinate officers in their daily fare, whatever that may be?
Yes,
Does that include anything having to do with crime scene investigation,
to an extent.
witness interviews?
No, that would be the detective bureau.
What about working and coordinating with detectives?
To an extent.
Collection of evidence or working with detectives as they collect evidence?
They would collect evidence.
Maintaining crime scene.
Hold on, let's just move to something. There we go. Let's actually get to something. Because we don't have time to go through all of that. Let's find a question. Complete.
Noted that.
Which taillight are we talking about?
Correct. Would say
Come on.
How long would you say you were at the location in a position to observe the rear end of that SUV? 2 minutes, 20 minutes, something in between, longer?
I would say not the entire time that I was there, but a good amount of time.
More than a glance.
Yes.
This is the afternoon of January 29th, 2022, correct?
Correct.
Before the vehicle had been seized formally by Trooper Proctor and Sergeant Buchanan, correct?
Correct.
Did you observe anything of note about the rear end of that black SUV?
Yes, I noted in a report that there was damage to the taillight,
Can you describe for the juror, by the way, which taillight are we talking about?
the right rear taillight.
Can you describe for the jurors what you noted in terms of the damage to the right rear taillight?
I noted that the report said that there was right rear damage to that taillight.
Okay.
When you say damage, have you ever described that damage previously?
I have.
Can you tell us what that
Yep.
description is?
There was, it was damaged. The taillight was damaged, but there was a crack missing, but it was not completely damaged.
Okay.
When you say there was a crack, do you mean there was a piece missing?
A piece was missing.
Can you describe
I
to the
need to know how Brennan's going to cross-examine this.
jurors kind of what that piece looked like, how big it was, how small, the shape, as you recall it?
The piece was about maybe this big.
Is that maybe the size of a dollar bill, as you recall it?
The piece was about maybe this big.
Is that maybe
Sir, that looks like like the whole tail light. So is he saying that? What's his name, Barrows?
when you say there was a crack, do you mean there was a piece missing?
A piece was missing.
Can you describe for the jurors kind of what that piece looked like, how big it was, how small, the shape, as you recall it?
The piece was about maybe this big.
Is that maybe the size of a dollar bill, maybe 6 inches?
6 inches. or
And
so.
how wide?
Maybe
Okay.
that wide, maybe 3 inches, 2 inches, somewhere
Okay.
in there.
I want to show you a photo. Your Honor, with the court's permission, I would like to show Exhibit 13. It's been previously marked. Do you see what's depicted in this photograph?
I do.
What does that appear to be, just generally?
The right rear taillight.
Of what?
The Lexus SUV.
Is that consistent with the black Lexus SUV that you saw at the Reed residence?
That was the black Lexus. That was not the taillight the day I was there.
Can you do me a favor, Mr. Wolk? With the court's permission, could we zoom in on the right rear taillight, please?
Okay.
All right.
Do you see the condition of that taillight as it's depicted in this photo?
I do.
Sergeant Barrows, is this the condition of the right rear taillight?
He's so
You
dramatic.
showed up at the Reed household at around 3:15 in the afternoon on January 29th,
Can I say no?
2022.
Absolutely not.
No. They love
What's
they
different about-
love saying absolutely not. There have been how many witnesses now? A few of them have said the same phrase.
This photo, sir.
That tail light is completely smashed out.
Okay.
Does it appear that there are additional pieces of taillight that are removed from this taillight condition than when you saw it at the Reed residence?
Objection.
Sustained. Ask it differently, Mr. Jackson.
Of course.
I need to get back to that question. Good night, Callie girl. All right. Dang, it's almost 3. Good night, my friend. Have a good night. Okay, Jason says this was the turning point in the trial as far as this is for sure. This is favorable to Karen Reed because everybody else that has gotten on the stand for the defense so far, I'm like, I don't know, but this is favorable.
3:15 in the afternoon on January 29th, 2022.
Absolutely
3:15 afternoon, January 29th.
not.
What's different about this photo, sir?
That tail light is completely smashed out.
Does it appear that there are additional pieces of taillight
I want to see
that are
what
removed
process that
from
means.
this
Taillight.
taillight condition than when you saw it at the Reed residence?
Objection.
Sustained. Ask it differently, Mr. Jackson.
Of course. Describe specifically, other than the fact that it's different, describe in detail for the jurors what is different about this taillight as it's photographed here.
That middle section was intact when I was there. Towards that right side where that large chunk is, that's what was missing.
I'm going to hand you a green laser pointer. If you can, there's 2 displays, one monitor directly in front of you and one to your right. If you could use the one to your right, it's a little easier on the jurors. Describe what's different about that taillight.
Yeah.
Can you see that? So this area was intact. This is what I saw was missing
Okay.
here.
May I approach?
Yes.
If the entire taillight had been broken out as it's depicted in this photograph, would you have made note of that?
Sustained.
Do you believe you would remember if the taillight, well, let me ask it a different way. The piece that you saw missing, but not completely damaged, is the reason that you use the phrase not completely damaged to highlight the fact that there was still more taillight attached to the vehicle than is depicted in this photo.
Sustained.
We can take this down.
Dang, don't just give up. You need to find a way to
As you
act
sit here,
properly.
as you sit here and recall back to that, your observations, and you observed this for over the course of how long would you say? How many minutes?
Probably 20 minutes or so.
You actually wrote a report about this, correct?
Correct.
And you documented your observations, correct?
Correct.
In your documented observations, did you use the phrase cracked but not completely damaged?
I did not.
Sustained.
Wait, what? Hold on. Hold on.
Correct.
In your documented observations, did you use the phrase cracked but not completely damaged?
I did not.
Sustained.
You've testified previously,
I have.
about a year ago.
Yes.
Did you use the phrase cracked but not completely damaged then?
The objection sustained, Mr. Jackson.
Ultimately, was the black Lexus SUV towed and cleared from the scene?
It was.
Is it your responsibility or part of your responsibility to log the time that things like this happen? Like, for instance, the SUV is taken away?
When I clear from the scene, yes.
What time was that when you cleared the scene?
I believe it was 4:17 p.m.
Suffice it to say that SUV was not seized at a later time, correct?
Correct.
It was not seized at 5:30 p.m.?
No.
like to show you another exhibit, if I could. This is exhibit 105. Do you recognize this scene generally?
I do.
Do you recognize it as being what do you recognize as being?
This is the Reed residence.
Do you see some vehicles in that still shot of the video?
I do.
Describe what you see.
That tow truck is Diamond Towing, and that other vehicle that's at the rear of that tow truck is the Lexus SUV.
If we could, with the court's permission, zoom in. It's high on the screen, correct?
What's that?
The vehicles are high on the screen as we're
Correct.
looking at it. Could we zoom in to the top left portion of the screen?
Okay.
Can we play this video?
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. Can you see what's depicted in the still image of that video right now?
I can.
I'm going to ask you if you'll turn to your right, concentrate on this area. This area here. Do you see what's depicted in that still image?
I do.
Does that appear to be a taillight?
Yes.
Does it look clear? Does it look like it's shining red?
Looks clear.
The portion that is intact, does that appear to be brighter red?
Correct.
And the photograph that I just showed you a second ago, is that red portion there?
Can you rephrase that?
Sure. Let's go back. You see the red?
Yes.
All right. Is that the condition of the taillight as you saw it on January 29th around 3:15 or 3:30 when you got to the location?
It was.
Let's go back to the other exhibit, please. Exhibit 13.
All right.
Can we zoom in, please?
Let's see.
Can you see that this
Dang, I missed
entire
out on the
area
pad. Hold
is
on.
now missing?
I can.
Hold on. I'm slacking. Okay, so Brooklyn wants to know Jason's verdict. What's up, Benji? Yeah, I don't know why you did not get a notification. I just assumed that you're watching the NBA Finals. Okay, so Jason says NG. Brooklyn says what? Brooklyn apparently came into the trial thinking like Jason, but what he says, but I would take even more money if this was a casino. So what has changed for you, Brooklyn? What changed for you? Because I actually noticed that you do have a different perspective, at least as far as it relates to Brennan. So Brooklyn says maybe Arcar will clean up the mess, and Yannetti or Jackson have a powerful closing. So what has changed for you, Brooklyn? Because I remember even before the retrial, you are definitely a staunch Karen Reed supporter. What is different this time around? What's the question?
Can we zoom in, please? Can you see that this entire area is now missing?
I can.
Yeah, it's
Sustained. Ask it differently.
Sure. The area that I'm circling here, do you see any red lens in that area?
No.
Is that consistent, this photograph consistent with the condition of the taillight?
What I want to see, where is this vehicle right now? Where's this Karen Reed vehicle? Because in its current state, I would like to see an actual recording to see how bright that taillight will be, okay? The reason I bring that up is because some time back, I had a DUI case, okay? I had a DUI case, and the surveillance footage not the surveillance, I'm sorry, the body worn camera footage, because they pulled her over. They said that I think it was, I believe they said that her lights were not on, right? They're saying her lights were not on. It was dark. And they're saying they had probable cause to pull her over, at least stop to inquire, right? And in the body worn camera, when I'm looking at it, I was not sure. I was of the opinion that her lights were definitely on, but my colleagues that looked at the same, and this is during my time as a public defender, one of my colleagues, she has far more experience than me. She looked at the same body worn camera and she's like, no, her lights were off. And I don't know. When I was looking at it, I'm like, it doesn't, I think her lights are on. So we got an investigator out, okay? We got an investigator out to go test, pretty much just record, right? Record it in real time to see if her brights were on or her lights were on or off. And when the investigator went out there, they went out on some dark night or whatever, and he pretty much he recorded the whole thing, trying to figure out lights on, lights off, trying to notice the difference. And what I thought was confirmed, her brights were definitely on. So they did not have, they did not meet the standard to pull her over. That said, though, because what I'm just thinking as far as the tail light, sure enough, Mr. Barrows is saying that it was just, a small portion that was missing. What I would want to know, at least from the perspective of a prosecutor, based on what we currently saw in the Sally Port, where it's just that the red, that little red shard or whatever that's on, I would like to know how much it would illuminate. How much would we be able to see of the red, or is it just supposed to be completely white? What exactly is going on? I need more investigation in order for that to be what is this? In order to figure out exactly what we're looking at, because I don't have enough information. Let's see. So Brooklyn says Brooklyn is still a FKR supporter, but Brennan presented so far a better argument. Bev definitely screwed up the case, not allowing certain motions in. What motions did Bev Canoni screw up? And then, okay, so Alexa, stop. Is it 10? Hold on. Oh, it's 10 o'clock. All right. So Brooklyn's basically saying that the lighting is very strong. I still need to see it.
As you saw it on January 29th, 2022, at just after 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Absolutely not.
Thank you.
There was absolutely not. This was a good witness.
Lights, please.
Is that it?
Thank you.
Thank you.
We need to.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Have we met before?
We have not.
Do you still work in Dayton?
I do.
At the time you went to the Reed residence, you did not know the occupants?
I did not.
Okay.
Since then, have you ever met or spoke to William Reed
Nope.
or
All right,
the
hit
defendant?
that like button,
Nope.
you guys. I'm usually slacking, but hit the like button.
The occupants?
I did not.
Okay.
Since then, have you ever met or spoke to William Reed
Nope.
or the defendant?
Nope.
When you went there that day, it was at the request of the state police?
Correct.
When they asked you to come, it's a typical procedure for one law enforcement agency to contact local law enforcement agency?
Correct.
And part of the reason they do that is to bring in separate and independent law enforcement officer to the scene
Yes.
because it's your jurisdiction.
Correct.
And they called you before they got to Mr. Reed's house, didn't they?
Yes.
They told you what they were going to do and when they were going to do it.
Yes.
They didn't just show up at the Reed house and then you found out later. They invited you and informed you what the process was going to be.
I wouldn't say that they told me what the process was going to be.
When you got there, were the troopers already there or did they arrive after you?
The troopers were there.
Were they in the house or outside of the house when you got there?
They were outside in a pickup truck.
Did you see them get out of the pickup truck after you got there?
They got out after I identified themselves.
Did you ever see them approach and touch the rear taillight of the defendant's Lexus?
I did not.
Did you ever see
Oh,
them?
that's actually a really good question. And that's what I'm saying. This man is he's a skilled trial lawyer.
Them manipulate in any way that rear taillight of the defendant's Lexus?
I did not.
Did you see them do anything that was suspicious, inordinary, or unfairly
saw them
remarkable
sniffing.
relative to that car?
I did not.
I saw them
When they
sniffing the
spoke to
taillight.
you, they then went inside the house?
What do you mean by spoke to me?
After they introduced you introduced yourself to them, they went into the Reed house,
Yes.
and then they came out.
They came out much later.
And that vehicle was towed.
Correct.
At no time from when you got there until you left did you see anybody from the state police in any way tamper with that vehicle, did you?
I did not.
When the vehicle was towed, do you know how long it took to take the vehicle from Dayton back to Canton?
How long?
Yes.
I do not.
You didn't escort it back.
I did not.
You had an opportunity to write a report in this case, didn't you?
I did.
And when you did, you had an opportunity to describe the damage to that taillight in any way you wanted to.
I did.
You could have gone into detail about size of the damage.
I could have.
You could have gone into detail about the shape of the damage.
I could have.
You could have gone into detail about the width of the damage.
I could have.
You could have taken photographs of the damage if you wanted to.
I could have.
In fact, there was no limitation on what you could have written in your report regarding the damage, was there?
No.
You write reports regularly, don't you?
I do.
You're trained at the academy. It's the best way to memorialize events.
Correct.
Because in time, your memory is not always as good later on than it is at that moment.
Correct.
What might be important or remarkable later might not be remarkable at the time you're making the observation.
Correct.
So you're taught at the academy to use as much detail as you can so that you can have an accurate memory later on.
Correct.
Because
This has always been my sense. I just never really raised it during the Commonwealth's case. But typically, think about your work. Think about the quality of your work in everyday life. I am yet to see somebody that has written a meticulous report, whether you're for the prosecution, for the defense, plaintiff, defendant, anything of that like. There's always going to be something that the opposing side can poke holes at.
oftentimes,
Let's see, what's Jason saying? Jason says, Brooklyn officer, I was going to say Dever. Officer Dever saying she seen Proctor and the chief with a car. No taillight pieces were found at the scene until after the car was in the Sally Port is a red flag. I don't remember that. Test.
respond to a number of different events and incidents, don't you?
I don't
I do.
remember.
You write a lot of reports.
Not necessarily now in this
What's that?
position.
Oftentimes, you respond to a number of different events and incidents, don't you?
I do.
You write a lot of reports.
Not necessarily now in this position that I'm in, but
Did you at the time?
at the time, correct.
Didn't you work for?
And so it's sometimes difficult to remember the details of all events, and you use the report to refresh your memory.
Correct.
When you wrote your report, and you could have put as much detail as you wanted, is it fair to say you only wrote one single line about the damage to the car?
Correct.
The vehicle had damage to the right rear taillight.
That's what I wrote.
Fair to say you didn't document that it was the size of a dollar bill?
Sorry,
You
I'm
didn't say that, did you?
parenting.
No.
Or that
Parenting,
it was
let me go
documented.
back.
Every single put as much detail as you wanted. Is it fair to say you only wrote one single line about the damage to the
What did I
car?
say?
Correct.
The vehicle had damage to the right rear taillight.
That's what I wrote.
Oh, that's all he wrote?
Fair to say you didn't document that it was the size
That is all. I don't know, Mr. Barrows.
of a dollar bill. You didn't say that, did you?
No.
Or that it was 3 to 6 inches. You didn't mention that, did you?
No.
You didn't mention the placement of where the damage
What's
was.
going on with his lips, though? Why does he keep biting his lips? What's the question?
Did you?
No.
You didn't mention the placement of where the damage was,
To an extent, I did the right rear tail light.
right? Rear tail light. You didn't indicate if it was on the side or on the back.
I did not.
You didn't provide any other details of your description when your memory was probably at its best. True?
True.
And would you agree that your memory that day,
I knew just before he got to this, I was gonna say they're gonna talk about how, or Brandon's gonna question about how his memory was better in 2022 as opposed to now, and that's the same thing. And that's the thing. We have to, at least you guys don't have to, but when I watch these trials, I watch them with an impartial lens because I really don't care. I'm just learning what the attorneys are doing so I can hone my skills. That said, I think these witnesses have to be treated with the same difference. The same way that folks criticized, what is this? The Commonwealth's witnesses as far as to omissions or the quality of their reports. We have to, or at least I'm maintaining the same criticism of his report. I think his report would have been, or at least his testimony would have been, ultimately it doesn't change that of all the witnesses that the defense has called, he is a much better witness than everybody else they've put on. That said, though, I would like to believe that as an officer, at the time that he wrote the report, if there was more detail to be added, it would have been preferred for him to add all that detail from a fact finder position, right? From the jury's perspective, they are going to question why he only mentioned or why he only said that it was damage to the right rear and tail light, as opposed to being as descriptive as he's being on the stand right now. Because again, oftentimes most people's memory would be better at the time of the actual occurrence, as opposed to 2 or 3 years removed from the incident.
probably much more accurate than it is today.
I would not.
When you wrote the report, did you ever have an opportunity to write a supplement report if you wanted to give more detail?
I guess I could.
You didn't.
I did.
Inevitably, you were a witness at trial. I'm sorry, you were a witness at a prior proceeding in this case, weren't you?
Correct.
You came in and you swore under oath regarding your memory.
Correct.
And that was probably a year to a year and a half after you first made the observations, which you reduced in writing in the police report.
Correct.
And when you made those observations, that was on January 29, 2022?
Correct.
Okay.
When you came into court and you testified, that was on June 10, 2024.
June 10, 24.
If that was the date.
You were asked questions to use your best memory to describe the damage to that taillight last time you swore under oath to tell the truth, weren't you?
Sure, that's a very simple.
I don't think I was asked that.
Okay.
Were you asked about to describe the best you could the damage to that right rear taillight?
Okay, do you have a transcript, Brandon? If you have a transcript, this solves the issue.
You were in court on June 10, 2024.
I don't think I was told to describe it in depth.
Would you ask questions about the damage to that rear taillight last time you were in court?
I was.
And when you described the damage, did you do your best of your ability to give as much detail as possible?
I did.
Did you qualify your memory at that time, saying to the best of my ability and recollection?
I did.
And when you qualify as a police officer with the best ability and recollection, that is recognizing that time had passed,
Time has passed, yep.
that you had a report, that you could refresh your memory.
Correct.
And did you refresh your memory with that report before you testified last time?
I did.
And when you qualified that it was to the best of your ability and recollection, that account for the fact that when you looked at the report, there was no detail other than your commentary in your report that the vehicle had damage to the right rear taillight.
Correct.
And so when you qualified, you were considering human factors
I cannot
like
wait for closing.
time had passed,
Correct.
that your report was respectfully scant,
Correct.
that you had heard a lot about this case since that point, hadn't you?
Correct.
And so considering your memory in June of 2024, when you qualified your answer, was it considering all of those different factors that had passed in between that time?
Can you rephrase that?
Yes. When you decided to qualify your answer and you said to the best ability and recollection, and then you went on to describe what you remember from the break of the taillight, the reason why you used that qualification for the best ability and recollection, is it because of those human factors that had passed?
I would suppose so.
And sir, since the time you came into court on June 10, 2024, have you spoken to anybody from the defense about this case?
Yes.
How many times have you spoken to somebody
Yeah, that's what I want to
from
know.
the defense about this case after you gave your testimony on June 10, 2024?
Once.
Okay, when
Where did you speak? Who did you
did
speak
you
to?
talk to?
Attorney Jackson,
Did you speak to him in person or on the phone?
in person.
Sir, can you just answer the questions, please?
Okay, don't. Okay.
Can
You're
you
not
just ask?
hesitating, are you?
He said
don't-
what?
Okay. You're not hesitating, are you?
No.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of wavering going on. I don't know what it's about, but Mr. Barrows, I was just saluting you. No, I don't know.
Where did you speak to him in person?
At his hotel.
Hotel.
How did you know where Attorney Jackson was staying?
He
Right.
told me.
Did you
But I
find it odd to go
But I thought you only had a conversation with him once, though.
visit an attorney at their hotel and talk about a case?
It was in their conference room.
Find it odd. Go to somebody's hotel and speak to them about a case.
No.
Without saying the name of the hotel, where was the hotel located?
Boston.
Okay.
And where were you located?
How far did he drive?
I don't feel comfortable telling you.
Sorry. Did you have to drive?
Yeah,
I
how
did.
far did he drive?
So you took the effort to go to see Mr. Jackson at his request. Did you know who Mr. Jackson was?
I did.
You know, on TV?
How,
I did.
When you went there,
how did you know who he
you
was?
took the effort to go to see Mr. Jackson at his request. Did you know who Mr. Jackson was?
I did.
You know, on TV?
I did.
Oh,
When you
oh,
went
he saw him on TV. Let me put these closed captions on.
there to the hotel in the conference room, who else was there?
Attorney Little.
Okay. Who else?
I'm not sure of the other gentleman's name.
It was one of the
Who's
gentlemen right
there?
here on the end.
The-
The good-looking one down there on the right.
no, it was not.
Somebody else?
Somebody else.
Okay. Was there anybody else there?
No.
When you were in that conference room, were you shown your police report?
No.
Hmm.
Were you shown your testimony from the last time you came in
That's a problem. That is a problem. That is a real problem.
the court?
No.
The photograph of the vehicle in the Sally Port, the vehicle with the missing glass, were you shown that?
No.
Had you ever seen that photo before?
Of course.
Where?
And you saw it at the last event you testified at, right?
Correct.
And when you were shown that photo,
I need his previous testimony. I need his previous testimony.
during your prior testimony, you never, ever suggested that that was in any way different than what you had seen in Dayton.
Nobody asked me that.
You were asked to describe the damage.
I have a problem. I have a problem with Barrows now. Let's get to these messages. So Brooklyn says, Jason, this was a very good case to follow, and I really enjoyed the arguments in this case were really good. Okay, Jason says first piece of taillight was found around 5:30 p.m. The Lexus left Dayton at 4:30 p.m. Brooklyn, nobody goes on the stand to lie, not intentionally. Brooklyn says he's impeaching. Maybe some people do lie intentionally. I don't know. Jason says they only get 1 hour for closing. Yes, please. I appreciate that because I'm actually tired. Like, I'm exhausted. I am tired. I'm tired of this case. Okay, Brooklyn says 1 hour for closing and rebuttal. Jason, Brooklyn, did you see Microdots on YouTube breakdown of the video from the bar? I think that's Jason actually talking to Brooklyn. Maybe, but the Karen Reed AI clips every day are hilarious. I don't know what AI clips you guys are talking about.
And you were shown that photograph. You never, ever suggested that there was a difference.
How much longer? I need to. Dang, he's on there for quite some time. Ooh, he's on there for quite some time. I'm gonna have to go. You
Yeah,
guys.
did you see it in that photo compared to what you remember?
I'm up here much later than I'd planned.
I don't think anybody asked me to describe that.
Did you ever make a note or say anything that is dissimilar to what you remember at the last event that you testified at?
I testified that that was not the taillight the day that I saw it.
That's what you testified at the last event?
Did.
Yes?
Yes.
You said that photo does not depict what you saw?
Correct.
Yes?
Yes.
And when you testified to that at the last event,
Sounds like he's about to impeach him. It sounds like he's about to impeach him.
who was asking you that question?
District Attorney Lally.
Okay. And you remember making that comment under oath?
I do.
Do you remember that as well as your memory about what the taillight looked like back in Dayton?
I do.
When you were asked questions about that taillight, you had described the taillight as not completely damaged. It was cracked, and there was a piece missing, but not completely damaged. Remember that testimony?
I do.
And is that accurate testimony?
It's accurate.
Wait, what?
Completely damaged. It was cracked, and there was a piece missing, but not completely damaged. Remember that testimony?
I do.
And is that accurate testimony?
It's accurate.
Okay, are you about to whip something out?
So in your memory, in June 10, 2024, was that vehicle's rear taillight had a piece missing, correct?
Correct.
You said that your memory about the damage to the taillight, as you recall it when you were in Dayton back on January 29, 2022.
Alexa, remind me
You said your memory
at
is as good as your memory
9:50
that you said in
a.m.
court there was a difference between that photo and the damage, right?
Right.
What's the question?
Yeah. Memory is as good as your memory that you said in court there was a difference between that photo and the damage, right?
Right.
Alexa,
Have you ever
remind
read
me
your
register
testimony
seal
from your last
tomorrow at
proceeding?
9 a.m.
Never.
But you have a specific memory of discussing that specific photograph. Yes?
Yes.
Any approach?
And that's the thing. So for the defense, they did not. Here's the thing. So the reason why they did not have him review his statement is because they did not want to refresh his memory. They did not want an instance where they have a discussion and he says, oh, so, you know, the taillight was not completely missing when I first got on the scene or whatever, right? So obviously it's a thrill when this man meets them at the hotel and he gives them this testimony. Under those circumstances, you do not then give him his police report, because you stand the chance of him reading that police report and realizing that that is not what he wrote in his report. And the defense did not want to lose him as a witness. So they just don't give him the statement. They may have possibly realized that, because again, it depends on when they met with Mr. Barrows and when they met with Devers, okay? Because in Devers, we see the defense make that mistake. First, the defense get this statement. The statement appears to be favorable to them. And then the defense goes on to give Devers a timeline. And based on that timeline, Devers realizes that, or she can't, I don't know. I'm not going to argue with her testimony. That's her testimony. So Devers realizes that her timeline was inaccurate because she was not even at, she was not on the job anymore. She had left, right? Or at least she was not, her shift had ended. Her shift had ended. So she corrects herself. So they are not going to make the same mistake with this man. He gives them a statement. The statement is good enough. They're going to go with a statement. And the last thing they're going to do is provide him with his own statement where he could potentially, have a change of mind or a better recollection and realize that that is not what he put in his statement. And here's the thing, again, it's not the defense's case. They don't really need to prove anything. It's enough for them, for the jurors to have heard that on direct, the taillight was not in the same condition that he left it in, or that he saw it in.
I'm going to show you your transcript of sworn testimony on June 10, 2024. And when you reflect on your memory, understanding some time has passed, you've testified that your memory of distinguishing that photo is reflected in your testimony, right?
Objection.
Ask the question differently.
Okay. Your memory is that you discussed the distinction between that photo and what you saw at the last time you testified.
Objection.
I'm going to allow that.
And I should take a look at that. Could you show me anywhere in your testimony, anywhere, where you made any statement about that photo being inconsistent with what you saw in Dayton on January 29th, 2022?
Brooklyn said, I'm in love. I cannot say her name, otherwise she's just going to chime in. No, she helps to keep me on track. Most of the times when I'm up here, I disconnect her, but I've been having the lives more often in my bed. So when I remember things, I just have to tell her to remind me of things. But that's because I just looked up, Alexa, stop, please. That's because I just looked up CLE calendar. I thought it was for next week. I realized it's actually tomorrow, so I need to register for that. Okay, I'm not gonna watch him just read. Dang, they have been reading the whole testament.
Okay,
Okay.
It's not in there.
okay.
Yes.
So ask him the question again.
I can put it back on. Thank you. So respectfully, sir, your memory about distinguishing that photo is not as you thought it was and claimed it was in this transcript, correct?
Correct.
And that's not a matter of you trying to fool anybody or lying, is it?
No.
No, it's a matter of time passes and memory fades. Yes?
Yes.
And that's one.
I don't know. Not to. I don't know. I don't know. He did good on direct, but that's the thing. You don't stop at direct. You have to see what's elicited during cross-examination. Cross-examination is not going good.
A real example why the academy, they teach you when you write reports to be as detailed as you can. To accommodate the fact that memories can fade, right?
Correct.
Memories can change.
Who looks defeated? Answer the question.
I know what I saw, and that wasn't it.
Well, that's not what I'm asking you, because you just testified that under oath, you had looked at that photo and distinguished it. But that's not accurate, is it?
No.
And so it's not a matter of you perjuring yourself or lying, it's a matter of difficulties with memory, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, correct.
And you've shared those same difficulties with memory.
This approach is working for Brandon because he's not exactly attacking the witness. He appears to be sympathetic. He's trying to make the witness, his understanding of the witness, right? And that allows the witness to answer questions without being defensive.
Many other witnesses.
Objection.
Sustained.
You have, as is human nature, difficulties with memory at times, correct?
Correct.
And so that very certain memory you
I'm sorry, folks. Brandon is really good. I think I'm actually going to put him above Lewin. I struggled with that for a little bit. Brandon so far has to be the best prosecutor or special prosecutor that I have seen on these, the Law and Crimes and the Court TVs and whatever other outlets they have. He's really good.
had about your testimony last year, fair to say that never happened.
Correct.
Wow. I actually did not expect Barrows to answer that question in the affirmative. I thought he was going to, pull a Dr. Russell. Let us go back.
Human nature, difficulties with memory at times, correct?
Correct.
And so that very certain memory you had about your testimony last year, fair to say that never happened.
Correct.
He's good. Brandon is really good. Brandon is really, really good. This is a skilled attorney. I did not expect Barrows to answer in that way, but I guess he I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say.
You're simply mistaken, aren't you? Or something more, please tell me.
Correct.
Brandon is good. Brandon is I'm a good cross-examiner, but Brandon is a good cross-examiner. Brandon is really good. Alexa, stop. Alexa, just stop. What time is it? 10:30. What do you want? Alexa, stop. Okay, so I have a reminder from Alexa. Okay, I need to go in a bit, but I need to watch this. That's crazy.
When you met with the attorneys in Boston, what'd you talk about?
It was just a way for them to meet with me and see me face to face, and then ask me how I would be subpoenaed, who would they need to send a court summons to, what my schedule was like coming up in the next months.
Those things all could have been accomplished by phone, correct?
Could have.
So the face-to-face meeting, what did you talk about?
Objection.
I'm going to allow it.
Yeah, Brandon's not letting up.
What did you talk about?
And it's Brandon, but it's also Alessi. Alessi also does the same thing where Alessi, I think Alessi is still a good cross-examiner with the exception of Dr. Starts with a W. I'm sorry. Brooklyn gave me the name. The name escaped me again.
Excuse me.
So that, okay.
Over here.
Girl, you need to go to bed. You need to go to bed. I need to iron. I need to get the wrinkles out. And they're gone for quite some time.
You told us there was some background about being subpoenaed and timing. Substantively, What did you talk about with the attorneys when you met them at their hotel conference?
I'm trying to figure out what Jackson did not want in, because again, there are times when an attorney is objecting in order to give their own witness time, okay? Because that was not an objectionable question. So I'm worried about what else did they talk about that he does not exactly want Barrows to disclose.
Other than that, they didn't go over my testimony. We just spoke about that I said that the taillight was not completely damaged.
Okay, did you get into any detail about the conversation, about your testimony today?
No.
When did you meet with them?
I don't have the date.
Last year, this year?
This year.
I don't have the date. I don't recall the date.
I'm not looking for a date, just the general year frame. Last year, this year?
How long was the meeting?
Probably June, early in this year.
Are you having some difficulty with memory about that?
On a certain date, yes.
Not a certain date. Was it this year probably, or do you think you met them this year?
This year.
Do you know what month you met them this year?
I wouldn't know the month.
So this is problematic. It's problematic because he wants, Mr. Barrows wants the jurors to believe that he is capable of remembering. And this is, listen, during closing, if I'm Brennan, I am bringing this up because so far his testimony is probably the one that is most damaging to the Commonwealth's case, and it's the most critical to Karen Reed's defense. Okay, so I am bringing this up. The fact that Mr. Barrows wants the jurors to believe that he can recall, okay, without referring to his testimony, without referring to prior not his testimony, I'm sorry, without referring to his report, without referring to a transcript from prior testimony. He wants the jurors to believe that he can vividly remember the state of the taillight. But while he's questioned about meeting defense attorneys in a much closer time, or he has no memories of that. So that is problematic. That is problematic. And definitely, as if I am Brandon, I am bringing that up. Definitely bring that up because he's having some memory issues right now about something that happened much closer in time as opposed to something that happened or something that he saw in 2022.
Talked about this issue with the taillight, didn't you?
Yes.
When you talk about the issue with the taillight, did anybody from the defense offer you any user information?
No.
Did they ask you questions about it?
No.
So you went to a meeting in a Boston hotel in a conference room, and nobody talked about the taillight? Objection.
I'm going to allow it.
Yeah, that's questionable.
Sir, I'll ask you another question instead.
Why didn't you let him answer? Or maybe he's of the opinion he was not going to get the answer he's looking for. Unless he wants to make the argument to the jurors that he could not even answer that.
You had an opportunity to see other evidence of that taillight being damaged that morning before you saw it?
That
On the 29th of January? No.
The video that was shown to you with the tow truck, had you seen that before today?
Yes.
Who showed it to you?
From seeing it on TV and.
Yeah, again, I've had many moments in this trial, even going back to actual jury selection. I do question whether these folks, again, we're not privy to the jury selection process. Maybe my thought process would be different if I was actually in the courtroom and I had a sense of what the jurors were asked and how they answered, right? I do question if there is in fact an impartial jury, because even for these folks, everybody has heard about the case.
Was it shown to you during?
And to me, again, that is the purpose of Karen Reed's interviews. Okay, that is why they were on TV, to make sure that enough people have heard about the Karen Reed case.
During your conference room meeting at the hotel?
It was not.
So you looked and studied and watched this case a little bit?
With all due respect, sir, I don't live under a rock. It's all over social media and the news. You can't avoid it.
I'm not criticizing you or discounting you. I'm just
See,
asking.
so there we go again. The witness is getting defensive, and Brennan is keeping that tone, making him understand that not necessarily that they're on the same side, but he is not personally attacking the witness. And we've talked about this approach before. With the approach that Brennan takes, you definitely do get better responses. You get more out of the witness.
Have you been exposed to this case since you made those observations indicted on January 29, 2022?
I have.
Have you seen other video footage and evidence about that taillight since January 29, 2022?
I have.
Have you seen other information since you last testified last summer about the taillight?
I have.
And seeing this extraneous information, this other information, do you think that played a part in some of your difficult memory?
Okay, so Jason says that he thinks that the Commonwealth paid Brennan around 300K or 300,000 K. I don't know. I don't look up those details. If I remember correctly, I think Brooklyn said that he was paid 80K, and that was a long time ago. I don't look it up, but I suppose I could understand that. And the reason I could understand that is because he runs his own practice, right? And him being not, because how long has Brennan been on this case? He's dedicated a lot of time to this case. The thing is, when you run your own practice, you, for the most part, unless you are part of some large law firms where you are just a rainmaker, you sit back and you have people that work for you, then you're not really in the trenches. But if he is in the trenches, because when I went on his website, I did not remember seeing any other attorneys listed. So if that's in fact the case, and he works by himself, maybe he has some paralegals, then I can understand him being paid that much, because he probably is losing out on that much money, especially if he does, personal injury, car crashes, things of that nature. And in all honesty, whether it's a conviction, an acquittal, another hung jury, Brennan was worth the money. He definitely, he's given them every dime. He has given them every single dime. Let's go back to the question. I need to go.
Yeah.
And seeing
What's
this
the question?
extraneous information, this other information, do you think that played a part
I'm gonna
in
say
some
no.
of your difficult memory?
Objection.
I'm going to allow that.
Your Honor, can we approach?
Okay.
No, he needs to answer the question. He needs to answer the question because it's overruled. He needs to, and that's what I've said before, right? The defense attorneys are, and I'm not criticizing, I probably do the same thing. They're objecting because they don't want that, they don't want the response in, first of all, okay? And the other part to it, they want a sidebar in order for this witness to have enough time to gather his thoughts. The difference between this witness and a lay witness is that, and we've also seen it with, I was going to say Dever. That is not her name, Dever. We've seen it with Dever when we watched her testimony, or at least it was redirect. It was redirect. Direct and redirect. Anyways, we saw it with her where she pretty much looked to Brennan for an objection. these are trained witnesses, okay? So with a trained witness, when an attorney objects, they know how to be fed information, but they also know when to cut back. The one person that I noticed struggled with that, it is, I just saw a face up here. What's her name? No, not Laurie. What was that woman's name? Jen McCabe. So Jen McCabe, there were moments when Brennan would ask leading questions, and Jen McCabe, instead of getting the hint, because he'd ask a leading question, defense would object, it would be sustained, and Brennan would ask the same question a different way, but Jen could never get the hint because this is not, it's not her world. She's not used to being on the stand. I was gonna say probably this is the last time she's on the stand, but I think she's probably going to be called in the civil suit. All right, come on. Okay, what's going on with Alessi? Oh, he's just, I don't know, being respectful, I suppose. Hey, do they look happy? Do they look not happy? What's going on? I don't like this color combination on Little. I don't. Too mismatch. This is too light. That is too dark. Maybe if she had a top to tie that in, but this she'd have to go with like navy blue pants. There's too much going on. I do like the tie though.
You've seen quite a bit of information about this case and the issue regarding the taillight since you first made the observations back in 2022. Wouldn't that be fair to say?
It would be fair to say.
And based on all the additional information you've read and seen, would you agree it's had some effect on your memory?
I guess.
Well, I don't want
No,
you to
no.
guess. You
No.
testified
Is that yes or is it no?
that you made explanations at the last trial that you didn't make, right?
Correct.
You had a memory as you testified in direct examination on the road, and you tried your best about things that just didn't happen.
You see, you go back to that word, to the word. You tried your best. So again, he's signaling to the officer that he's not attacking him. Okay, it's not an adversarial approach. You are not the one that is on the stand. I just want you to answer.
Right?
Right.
Would you agree that you have some difficulty with your memory?
I'd agree.
I want to show you some evidence of that taillight.
Girl, you need to go. Girl, you need to go. Oh my goodness. I'm so invested in this, but I'm going to watch a little bit, but I really need to go. I need to, maybe had I ironed before I got up here. I need to iron. I need to talk to my man. I have stuff to do. Okay. But I'm also really into this.
Before you had a chance to see it indictment, if we could have
Okay.
the ring video at 5:07.
So before the officer arrived at the Reed's home.
58, please. Have you seen this video before, sir?
Alexa,
I have.
return me USB stick in 15 minutes.
Before you proceed, Ms. Gunner, have you seen this on social media?
The news, social media.
Has anybody else shown you this video?
No.
How many times do you think you've been exposed to this video?
Too many to count.
Okay.
Because you were involved in this case.
That's problematic though. Yeah, that is problematic.
And I'm going to say as a predicate, there were no orders for you not to look at anything. I'm not suggesting any impropriety. But because you were involved in this case and issues regarding
And so he is signaling to him, he's not suggesting any impropriety. He's signaling to him, I am not attacking you.
taillight, do you think you had a particular interest when things like this came on TV and social media to take a look to compare to your memory?
Did I have a
Yes.
particular interest? No, I didn't follow this case
But you've seen this many, many times.
because of what is out there on social media and the news.
I understand. Who's right this way?
So again, the witness's voice got a bit elevated, and Brandon brings him down. By bringing him down, I'm not saying he crushes the guy or anything. I'm just saying he lowers his voice. That's just a way. That's part of controlling a witness that's on the stand. I would hate having to park in and reverse out of this garage. I do it. I do it because nobody's going to be, clearing a vehicle of snow every morning. But I don't like the setup of this garage. They're too much. Okay.
Stop, please.
Okay.
Do you see that white part of the back where I feel it?
Objection.
I'm going to allow it.
Yeah, this is cross-examination. I don't know what you're objecting about. Okay, so this white part, and that's what I keep saying, right? I'm gonna need somebody out there with a camera to just record that vehicle in its current state. I need them to record it in order to see how much of the red is illuminated.
You see that? Sir?
Can you zoom in a little bit more? I can.
You can or cannot?
I can.
You can. C-A-N can?
Yes.
Thank you. Continue, please. Continue. Stop.
Say stop.
Bring it back. Stop. Back more. Open right there. Zoom, please. You see, sir?
No. I'm gonna have to I don't know, folks. To me, I'm gonna have to go back to, I don't want to go back right now, but I do want to, let's see if we can find that times. Okay, there we go. There we go. I don't know, that looks to be the same to me. Because the red, I actually thought all of this was out, right? All of that is not out because you still see that red over there. So, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, that's a one part the prosecution should have, at least that they should have investigated that just a little bit more in order to get clarity. And even from a defense perspective, I would be interested in that. I'd be interested in that just in order to figure out how to best prepare my cross of the state's witnesses. But to me, right, that appears to be the same. If we're looking at this, it appears to be the same. Because again, I thought that red, I thought there was no red at all. I thought it was only that. But looking at this, I don't know. Mr. Barrows,
I can see that.
Is that consistent with the damage?
I suppose it's improper for me to say that I'm disappointed in Mr. Barrows' testimony, but I do understand why the defense did not give him his prior statement or a transcript from his prior testimony, because that would have done what we saw with Brennan on cross-examination, where this witness pretty much admits that he may have had he basically said that his recollection was incorrect.
Image that you saw when you looked at that Lexus in Dayton hours later?
Consistent.
That I don't know.
Can we go to Exhibit 10, please? And before you show it, I have a couple questions.
Okay.
This was a snowstorm, kind of like a blizzard that day.
Yes,
And when you got to the driveway, it had not been shoveled or plowed.
correct.
There was quite a bit of snow accumulating
Let me
and
see what
ongoing.
can read it.
Yes,
And there was snow coming down on top of everything, the ground, the streets, the cars, correct?
correct.
And snow was accumulating, did you notice, on cars and packing onto cars?
Yes,
On Core TV, they've moved on to other cases, so they have moved on to other cases.
When you looked at this house, when you looked at the defendant's Lexus in Dayton, you didn't go over and scoop out any of the snow that was in that broken taillight, did you?
I did not.
You
Wait,
didn't
what
try
is
to
it?
put
What?
On cars and packing onto cars?
Yes,
When you looked at this house, when you looked at the defendant's Lexus in Dayton, you didn't go over and scoop out any of the snow that was in that broken taillight, did you?
I did not.
You didn't try to remove any snow off it or that was accumulated inside of it?
I did not.
That's a
And
good
the
question.
snow that was, there was snow packed on that car, wasn't there?
There was.
There was snow packed around the light, wasn't it?
There was.
And would you agree with the snow?
Listen, I think at this moment, again, I was a bit torn about Lewin and Brandon. Without question, Brandon is the best prosecutor, special prosecutor that I've seen on these networks on YouTube. There's nobody else that competes with him. He's in a league of his own.
Since you didn't tamper with it or try to remove anything, that could impede your ability to accurately observe the depth of the damage. Would you agree with that?
I would.
Listen, he is. He's good. He's really
We could
good.
have Exhibit 10, please.
I need to go to bed. I really need
That
to go
appear
to
to
bed.
be the same Lexus you looked at when it was in Dayton?
I cannot see. I cannot. I need to zoom in.
It's a far view, so I don't want you to guess. If you're not sure, you can tell me.
I wouldn't be able to tell you. I can't.
Okay, we have Exhibit 11, please.
Yeah, I need you guys to zoom in.
Can you take a look to the right? You see that right tail light, the white part
I can.
missing? Yes?
Looks like snow is packed on it.
Does it look like there's a right tail light there?
Does not.
That's a problem. That is a problem. That's a problem, folks. Because again, I had to go back. Because to me, if we look at, I don't have timestamps, but that happened too quickly. So I'm not even going to try and pause over there. But if we go back here, it looked to be substantially the same to me.
This is before you saw the car in Dayton? Do you know that or you wouldn't know that?
That doesn't look like the Reed's driveway.
Do you know if this photograph was taken before or after you made your observations in Dayton?
I do not.
The right rear taillight and the missing parts there, is that consistent with what you saw around 3:27 on January 29, 2022?
Yes.
There's no further questions.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. What I initially thought was really good testimony for Karen Reed is no longer good testimony for Karen Reed. That cross-examination was very, very effective. That was really good cross-examination. I'm really supposed to be in bed. Let's see how much longer the redirect is going to take. He's there for, what is this? It is kind of long, but I'm also really curious. I want to find out. Girl, you need to go to sleep. We're here. Let's do it. Let us do it. I want to see what the redirect is. Let's see if they can rehabilitate their cross-examination, because their cross-examination, no bueno. It's not good.
Lights on, please, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll be brief. Sergeant,
Just ask the question, please. Ask. I need to go.
celebrate your birthday 2 years ago?
I did.
Kind of a big
This is not going to work, Jackson. You need better questions than that.
deal. It's your birthday, right?
Yes.
What day of the week was your birthday 2 years ago?
No idea.
You have a difficult memory, sir?
Yes.
The fact that
That
you,
does not, Jackson, that does not help you. If you're saying this man has a difficult memory, and if he cannot remember information that personally pertains to him, then how do you want the jurors? How on earth do you want the jurors to suddenly, for him to be able to recall what the state of their vehicle was, especially considering that he admitted to potentially being influenced by videos and the news and things of that. I don't know. I don't know how you rehabilitate this guy, but let's go. Let's see.
you had a birthday, you recall, correct?
Correct.
The day of the week of that birthday may fall by the wayside in your mind, right?
Right.
Sustain us to the form, Mr. Jackson, is
Of
your
course.
witness.
The fact that you can't remember the day of the week, does that mean that you have a bad memory?
The problem is he was not necessarily just asked about the day of the week. He was told time of the year. Is it early this year? Was it last year? And he could not remember that. And the reason why Jackson's bringing this up on redirect, it's because he recognizes how that's problematic for him. Not for him per se, but his client.
I'm going to allow it.
Correct.
You remember being in Dighton, correct? Being called out to Dighton to the residence of the Reeds.
Correct.
Do you remember the
What are you
time?
talking about?
I do.
Do you remember the weather?
I do.
Do you remember who you met there?
I do.
Do you remember the conversations that you had?
I do.
Do you remember the
Yeah, these people have moved on to Lori. They've moved on to Lori. Core TV has moved on. They've moved on to Lori.
phone calls that you received?
I do.
The first one?
I do.
The second one?
I do.
Do you remember being in the garage and speaking with someone?
I do.
Remember it was this lady, pretty lady right here in the blue?
I do.
You remember meeting
I
this?
don't know that works because he could not even pick out who the third male or the second male attorney was.
Mr. Reed?
Briefly.
Handsome gentleman with the gold tie?
I do.
You remember all that?
Stop.
Mhm.
So he remembered meeting Mr. Reed, but he did not say that. Alexa, stop. She's listening to my conversations. But he did not say that on cross-examination.
Do you remember the SUV?
I do.
Do you remember the condition of the taillight?
I do.
That's not how you end. That is not how you end. Don't end on that note.
You were asked whether or not you saw Trooper Proctor in any way manipulate that right rear taillight while it was out at Dighton while you were there, correct?
Correct.
You said no. Honestly, I never saw him touch it, right?
Correct.
Were you in the Sally Port in Canton PD? Sorry, in Canton, in the Sally Port at the police station
I wasn't.
at 5:30 p.m.?
Sustain.
At any point, did you ever go to the Sally Port at Canton PD that day?
I did not.
Do you have any idea what did or didn't happen?
Alexa, remind me USB stick in 10 minutes. Folks, in 10 minutes, I need to be gone. Okay.
Inside the Sally Port?
Objection.
Sustain.
Alexa, stop.
You were asked by Mr. Brennan, you could have taken photos had you wanted to, correct?
Correct.
And certainly you could have, right?
Correct.
Was that your vehicle that was being seized?
No.
You were simply there to assist another officer, right?
Objection.
The form, Mr.
When you
Jackson.
wrote the report,
What were you there to do?
Just to assist another agency.
What did have been normal protocol for you to photograph that vehicle?
No.
Did you see Trooper Proctor photograph the vehicle?
No.
Did you see Sergeant Buchanan
That's a good
photograph
question.
the vehicle?
No.
By the way, you and I did meet once before, correct?
Correct.
Was that before or after you testified last year at another hearing?
After.
And you were called by
Was that?
whom? Hearing.
After.
Was that before or after you testified last year at another hearing?
After.
And you were called by whom last year at the other hearing? The defense or the Commonwealth?
The Commonwealth.
You testified for them?
Correct.
So that's stricken. It's beyond the scope.
Did the Commonwealth ever contact you after your testimony at the hearing last year?
They did not.
Did they ever call you on the telephone?
After?
Correct.
No.
Did they ever send you a subpoena?
No.
And you testified last year that the taillight was cracked, but not, or damaged, but not completely broken, correct?
Sustained.
That was not the case.
You and I met in a hotel in a conference room, correct?
Correct.
Anything sketchy or nefarious about that?
No.
Did I introduce myself to you?
You did.
You happen to know I live in
And I've said this before, over and over again. I don't know when these lawyers are going to learn. Use a goddamn investigator, okay? That takes the what is this? It takes the what is this? Because right now the focus is on these attorneys, potential improper conduct, right? And it detracts from creating holes in the prosecution's case. So I don't know why they keep doing this.
Los Angeles.
Correct.
I don't have a house, right?
Correct.
I don't have an office out here, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, that is.
Do you know what?
This is just. Come on, Jackson.
Whether or not I have an office?
I do not.
Do you remember me asking you if you would mind meeting at a hotel where I was staying in a conference room?
I do.
Okay. Do you have any problem with that?
Nope.
Do you find that unusual?
Get an
No.
investigator.
Did you and I ever speak, ever, before your testimony last year?
No.
Did I ever tell you how I wanted you to testify?
No.
Did I ever tell you what to say?
No.
Did I show you any testimony?
No.
Did I play you any video?
No.
Did I show you a single photograph?
No.
During that conversation, did you tell me how to subpoena you?
I did.
Did you tell me where the subpoena should be directed?
I did.
Did you tell me your vacation schedule?
I did.
Did you tell me your availability and willingness to testify?
I did.
Okay, so hold on. So I'm reading about Lori Vallow. Okay, these are some people's opinion, or at least one person's opinion, as it relates to the opening statements today. So this individual says, okay, let's be real. Of course, Lori is guilty. However, if she had sane legal representation, like not pro se, she would be found not guilty, in my opinion. This is a trial that all the Free Can Read fans should seriously see all their pent up anger on. Lori Daybell's case has serious doubts. I don't know. I'm not actually gonna let me not get into the rest of that stuff, but we need to move on to Lori, okay? Because that's where all the people. Okay, they're still talking about Karen Reed on this Lori thing, but all right.
Did we talk about any other thing of substance other than that, and whether or not you recalled what your testimony was from last year?
That was all we talked about.
Okay. Is that it?
As you sit here, Sergeant Barrows, do you have any difficulty recalling what the condition of that taillight was on January 29th, 2022, at about 3 or 3:15 in the afternoon?
Let me just pause because I don't know what Mr. Barrow's gonna say. I'm gonna pause right here. When
You saw the vehicle. Any
No.
difficulty whatsoever?
No.
You remember the condition of that taillight?
I do.
Was the condition of that taillight the same as the photo that I showed you on my direct examination?
No.
That's all.
That was a good note. What do you have, Brandon?
You would agree that your memory has changed since last time you testified in this courthouse?
Yes.
In the photo I showed you, the close-up with the missing right rear taillight, is that consistent with your memory of what you saw in Dayton on January 29, 2022?
Objection.
I'm going to allow it. It's opened
Yes,
up.
on evidence.
It was opened up.
Yep.
Is it consistent with what you saw on January 29, 2022?
It is.
Thank you.
Listen, I don't know what the hell. I just, I don't know. In all honesty, I think probably the defense real strategy has to be those interviews. Okay, it has to be the many interviews and the press runs that we're having. Okay, under these circumstances, Karen Reed needs a holdout. She needs something similar to what was that trial again? It's not California. It's out of Florida. I forgot. But they need somebody on that jury that has heard about this case, that is prepared or has always been prepared to vote not guilty. Because when Mr. Barrows got on the stand during the direct, I was like, okay, this is, he's giving them something. But his testimony falls apart on cross-examination, and it falls apart on recross. So I don't know. We're going to move on to tomorrow and see what happens then. All right. Let us reconvene on Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. My plan was to be up early so I could get some shorts out. We'll see how that works, because I'm probably going to go to bed much later than I had initially planned. Okay. You guys have a good weekend. Enjoy yourselves. And I'll be working. I'll be working, but I'm not complaining. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching.